Hi from the Book Tart. I'd like to tell you about a book I read last week. It came out at the beginning of July, well actually the end of June. I've been waiting months for it. It's Once Burned by Janine Frost. It's a spin-off from her Cat and Bones series, set in the same world, but this one follows Vlad. That Vlad. Dracula. All lies and myth. This is the real Vlad. So Vlad Tepesh and his story, he has the power of fire. He's a vampire. He's extremely old. He's very powerful and very dominant, very domineering. And his match, or it's going to be a series, so you're not quite sure. It's not all wrapped up and tidy. But the heroine's name is Layla. I believe that's how you say it. And Layla was struck by lightning when she was a teenager, and she basically died and came back. And she has a scar from the lightning strike, and ever since the lightning strike she has been able to, well, she can't really touch people because she either static electricities them from that small to a high volt of energy that can send them flying across the room. So she transfers power by touch. She's very isolated and doesn't touch people really. And she also can, when she touches somebody, she sees their worst secret or their greatest secret, I guess, greatest loss. And so sometimes it's bad. Sometimes it's just sad. And she can also see the future. So she's pretty powerful, but she's trying to hide that. And she works for a circus. And she works with a vampire an older vampire who doesn't, her electric shocks, he can handle it. So they're a team and they do a tumbling gymnastic act. And it starts out with her in a bar, and she bumps into someone and sees that he's about to kill his wife, and she's, a nice person. She can't let that happen, so she has to stand up and say something, and now her secret's out. Not that, she hadn't done things like that before, but she was always on the move. This time some bad vampires get her because they heard about her talent, and now they want her to find their enemy. They want her to find Vlad, so they give her items that he has touched, and she's supposed to figure out where this individual is. She has no idea who he is, and tell the bad guys, the guys who are holding her captive, where to find him. So she's biding her time, trying to figure out when she can escape, and she touches this item, and she's astral projecting, basically. I think that's what it is. So she's kind of like hovering over the person who this object belonged to, and it's Vlad. And he senses her, and he's talking to her, and that's never happened to her before. So they start up a conversation, and she tells him she's, supposed to find him, and he's like, well, tell him to come and get me. And she tells him he can come get her. That would be great. So he comes to rescue her from her captors, and discovers that she's very powerful, and she's in danger. So he takes her back to Romania. And she's a kick-ass heroine. I loved Layla. She's snarky and powerful and brave and doesn't take any guff. And she and Vlad, the dynamic between them is interesting and dynamic, and the back and forth, the chemistry between them, the magnetic attraction. You read it, and Vlad, he's extremely black and white. He's done some pretty terrible things in the name of protecting his people. He's the lord of the manor, and he said it's better to be feared. So they fear him, but they fear no one else. They know he will protect them. And if they mess up or betray him, there are harsh consequences, and he rules with an iron fist, and yet he can be very gentle and funny with Layla. But he tells her whatever they start, he'll never love her. He's lost that. So she goes into it with her eyes open, and she's helping him find out who had captured her in the first place, who his enemy is. And you get to see Cat and Bones again briefly, which was amazing. One of my favorite couples in fiction. And it ends not necessarily cliffhanger ending, but you're definitely left wanting more. So excellent entry into, or spin-off side series to Cat and Bones. Highly recommend. I devoured it. I like that word, devoured. Devoured, and delicious and yummy. Books are kind of my food, except I eat things with calories like Swedish Fish and Sour Patch Kids, which are some of my favorite things, and chocolate. I love chocolate. But definitely books are one of my major food groups. So delicious. Check it out. Once Burned, Vlad, and Layla. And also check out thebooktart.com and see what books are coming out this month, and take a look. Drop me a comment if you'd like. Also, don't miss out on the contests I have. Goodbye from the Book Tart.